Well, that is right. You are listening to the home of conservative, not bitter. Not bitter. We're not bitter over here. Not Bitter Talk. I'm your host, Todd Huff. Email, as always, todd@toddhuffshow.com. Facebook.com/toddhuffshow is where hour number 1 is, I guess, unless they've taken it down, which would not surprise me on any given day at all. But we're on YouTube for hour number 2. YouTube, it's good to be here. Thanks for listening. And for those of you that haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, I'm going to humbly ask that you do that. It'd probably change your life, by the way, subscribing to our YouTube channel. Make things better for you day in and day out. And, of course, what's not to love here at the Todd Huff Show. But I want to continue here. I want to continue kind of where we left off last hour. We talked at the end of last hour about double voting in the state of Georgia. The Secretary of State there said that there are 1,000 double voters back in the June primary. They found 1,000, they believe, folks who voted once by mail, by absentee ballot, and then who showed up at the polls and cast a second vote. Now, I pause here. I don't know if they actually were able to cast the second vote. I'm looking here. It says some voters who weren't sure whether their absentee ballots would be received before Election Day decided to vote in person to ensure their votes would count. Voters are allowed to cancel their absentee ballots and then vote at polling places as long as their ballots haven't yet been received by election officials. It's unclear whether the voters under investigation attempted to do so. So the point is that there are holes in, again, I want to make this clear, any type of voting. You open up a system. And I'm not arguing for no voting. Don't misunderstand me. What I'm arguing for is that we be objective and fair and rational. We understand that anytime there's a system for anything, I mean for anything, someone out there is going to try to find a loophole. Someone out there is going to try to find a way to exploit the way that it works. I mean, you can take all sorts of examples. I'm no longer an NFL football fan, but I'm reminded of how, Bill Belichick is a master of this. Actually, Bill Belichick had this used against him, I think, last year, maybe in the playoffs. There was a loophole in the rules. I believe if you took, and it doesn't make any sense. I've always wondered stuff like this as well, but I believe it was a delay of game penalty. A delay of game. So your team has the ball, if you still watch the NFL, which many of you are not, I know. But if your team has the ball, say it's late in the game, you're trying to milk the clock from your opponent, but let's say, I think it was like a 4th down situation. So instead of punting the ball, they would let the play clock run out. And if the previous play was a running play or the receiver was tackled in bounds, if it wasn't a clock stoppage, that clock was ticking. Well, on a delay of game, you would think that the rules makers would say, we're not going to allow the clock to continue to tick after a delay of game penalty on the offense. But they did. And so I believe this was how it was set up. So you would take a delay of game penalty, they'd march off the 5-yard penalty, and then they'd wind the clock again and it'd start ticking. The other team doesn't have any timeouts, and you're like, this could last. I think this went on until a certain point of time, and then it wouldn't happen. And I don't know if it was the final 2 minutes, the final 4 minutes, something like that. It's one of these obscure rules. And so that's what was happening. And so this is what happens to anything. And there's examples of people, not breaking the law, of course, simply using things to their favor like that. That's exploiting a rule that they're not breaking the rule. You might say that's not the way the game's supposed to be played, but then you could say, well, then why the rules allow it? So people look for advantages, right? People look for advantages in everything in life. This should not come as a shocker to anybody. People look to find advantages, and so people say, let's find a way to stuff the ballot box with as many votes for our candidate as possible. There are people that do that. There are people that do that look for weaknesses in the system. I would venture to say full time. This is what they're trying to do. Find, discover, and exploit holes in the system. And so there are holes in any system, right? It's just the way that it is. You try to minimize those. You try to think, what would someone do to try to cast a ballot illegally, right? Everyone knows you get one vote. How do we prevent people from having more than one? You have people that walk into polling places. That's why people say you need an ID. Now, some people will say, oh, that's racist. That's targeting the poor, because that's effectively issuing a poll tax. They can't afford an ID. And you say, okay. Actually, this Sunday at church, and the pastor was not making a political statement. He was just talking about our ID, who we are, proving who we are, is talking about our identity in Christ. But he was saying there's 17 things that you have to, you need an ID for. On that list was not voting. I noticed that. Other people noticed that. I had someone come up to me afterwards and say, basically, is that right? Am I hearing this right? You don't need? And I said, not everywhere, because you don't. You don't need ID because they said it's racist or it's targeting people who can't afford one. So states like Indiana have agreed to issue just an identification card for people so that they can vote. I think it's even free. But still, people say having an ID is it's discriminatory, or it's targeting certain groups of people, trying to make it harder for them to vote, when in reality, what it's really trying to do is prevent exactly what we're talking about here, right? That's what it's designed to do. So you have to put safeguards. You can't just, plop a whiteboard up at the intersection of Main and 5th in your local city and have people tally, walk by and put a tally by which candidate they want to vote for. Turns out, this might shock you, but turns out that count would not be right. Some people would vote multiple times. Some people would erase the votes. Same thing. Same thing, folks. This is not complicated. Same thing for walk-in voting. There's got to be safeguards. You got to prove who you are. You've got to be able to demonstrate that you live in the district that you're trying to cast the vote in, all that sort of stuff. Same thing for mail-in ballots. With absentees, there's they check signatures, which is what I want to get to here. But they check signatures to verify who you are, to verify that you say, that the person filling out that ballot was in fact you. You've got to request it. You've got to show your ID for that whole process. But there's still weaknesses in the system. There's nothing that could really stop you from bringing that ballot home. And you say, look, I don't know who I'm voting for, and you hand it to one of your friends or someone who's wanted to make sure that you voted for the quote-unquote right person, and they fill that out, and then you sign it, right? There's nothing, or they take it. You just say, here, take it. Do whatever you want with it. Some people say, I'm not going to vote anyway. What do I care? They're all crooks or whatever. There's endless possibilities here. That's not the point. Is to say, to acknowledge this, or to not acknowledge this reality, is to only set yourself up for more failure, right? You're not going to prevent it if you don't know what you're looking for. You have to be able to know how to do this. And so with that in mind, states are now, I mentioned the Georgia Secretary of State here, but let's look here at an article from the Daily Caller. Headline: Battleground states may see unprecedented amount of absentee ballot rejections. This was dated a couple of days ago. Up to 3 times as many voters in battleground states could have their votes discarded compared to 2016 if states reject absentee ballots at the same rate as the 2020 primaries, the Associated Press reported. Millions of voters plan to vote by mail amid the ongoing coronavirus pandemic, and postal delays have been reported across the country, according to the AP. Rejection rates could even be more pronounced in urban areas where ballot rejection rates have been higher throughout the 2020 cycle. So you see how this is being set up. This is basically here to plan in your mind that this is they're going to reject ballots that are going to be intended to be cast for Biden. It's the same thing as well, there's differences, of course, but it's the same basic thing as Russian collusion. People who were going to vote for Hillary were tricked, were duped into voting for Trump by a Pokemon Go ad. That's effectively the narrative for Trump-Russia collusion. Now it is people who tried to vote for Biden in 2020 by mail because they were scared of going to the polls because of the Trump virus. Again, this is the narrative of the media, by the way. This isn't my words. This is what they're saying. Trump virus, which is what some of them call it, the Trump virus, which makes no sense, by the way. This thing is around the world that did not start here. From based upon what we're told, I mean, they say it starts in Wuhan, China. Anyway, now it's the Trump virus. The Trump virus. Trump's unleashed this virus on the American people. He's not wearing masks. In fact, I want to get to this tweet by Chris Hayes of MSNBC, one of the many insane things that have come from Chris Hayes. But so people are saying, hey, Trump's out here trying to, kill people with the coronavirus, scaring people from going to the polls, and so they're going to grab absentee ballots, but now their ballots aren't going to be counted if they're from urban areas. All right, folks, we have 60 days. At the post office today, I don't know when you can cast your first absentee ballot, but if the post office can't get it there in 60 days, that's not Donald Trump's fault. I mean, the post office is inept in a lot of ways. If they can't pull this off, with where we stand today, just a little bit under 2 months out, there's a massive problem. And it's the narratives that they want you to believe. I mean, there's a lot of packages. There's a lot of pieces of mail, even though it's decreased, I've seen since 2001, which is when it hit its height. There's a lot of mail going out every day. It's not as though, I might venture to say that in some places they wouldn't even notice an increase in volume with absentee ballots coming through. I mean, they process large numbers of pieces of mail anyway. But now we're supposed to believe the post office is sitting there at capacity, right? And if they get one more piece of mail, it's just going to shut the whole system down. They're going to lose your ballot. And it's only going to happen in inner cities. They're going to target, Trump's going to shut down the post office in Democrat areas. This is what they want you to believe. Shut it down. Keep these ballots from coming through the mail. And then if they do get through the mail, to disqualify them because they're going to be casting ballots for Biden. This is what they want you to believe. In fact, one group has gone so far as to suggest that Trump's going to wallop Biden on election night. But then as the mail-in ballots trickle in, trickle in, there's going to be magically just enough to remove Trump from the White House. Enough votes for Biden. And how do we know when all the ballots are counted? Well, funny you should ask, because I've got the answer to that. We know all the votes have been counted when Biden is declared the winner. The second that happens, then they'll know, hey, game, set, match. This thing is over. We're just going to keep counting and counting and counting until we get enough votes for Biden. Then suddenly there's not going to be any desire to recount or anything like that. We've got what we need. This thing's over. Let's declare Biden president. Let's call the, U.S. Special Forces in to remove Trump from the White House, which is effectively what they want you to believe is going to happen. They have to drag the guy out kicking and screaming so that Biden can move in and reinstitute peace and tranquility in these United States. That's what they want you to believe. So I want to continue talking about these rejected ballots because I want to explain why they're being rejected. So far, we've read a little bit of this article, and it makes it sound like they're almost arbitrarily being rejected. But let me explain to you why they're being rejected. We'll do that after the break. You're listening to Conservative Not Bitter Talk. I'm your host, Todd Huff. Back in just a minute.
Looking to make a conservative, not bitter fashion statement? Check out our apparel online, including brand new items, at toddhuffshow.com/shop today.
Our word can't be diluted, because we are taught that a promise is a commitment in which you always follow through. No ifs, ands, or buts. So every time you walk through Greg Hubler Chevrolet doors, you can count on the advice and expertise we provide you. Because when we make a promise, we keep it. Greg Hubler Chevrolet. Promise kept. Visit GregHublerChevy.com. Find new roads.
What if your bank treated you like a person instead of an account number? What if you could sit across from the person you are opening an account with or requesting a loan from and have an actual conversation? You may be thinking, Todd, that's crazy talk. Well, not at Citizens Bank. Come visit them in Monrovia and meet Nick Gibson, their new branch manager, and the rest of their staff. Or give them a call at 317-831-0110. Citizens Bank is an equal housing lender and member FDIC.
Our partner, Global Plasma Solutions, has published ionization testing results that demonstrate a 99.4% reduction rate on a SARS-CoV-2 COVID-19 surface strain within 30 minutes. This is the first instance that an air purification company has effectively neutralized SARS-CoV-2. Commercial Service Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing is installing this solution in businesses and homes in South Central Indiana. Get your free information kit at commercialservice.com/info. Commercial Service, commercial-grade service for your home.
We all know having health insurance doesn't always equal health care. That's why at Freedom HealthWorks, we believe the key to maintaining good health is based on a straightforward, personal relationship with your physician. With our direct doctor-patient relationship model, we remove your healthcare middleman and replace him with transparent pricing and incentive to call your doctor at the first sign of illness. So if you're ready to experience real care from a doctor that really cares about you, go to freedomhealthworks.com and learn more about the benefits of our direct primary care model. Freedom HealthWorks. Be treated better.
This is the sound of your typical do-it-yourselfer in completely over his head.
For heating, plumbing,
and electrical done right.
Call Mr. Quick. Call Mr. Quick. Dial the number, spell the words. For on time.
In the compassion of Christ, we see Christ as he models it for us in some really interesting ways. He's not worried about the world metrics. No, he is worried about the person. Mark 5, he gets in a boat and goes across the lake for one person. We see him as he's walking amidst all of the people. He stops to engage with the one woman with the issue of blood. Christ was about engaging with people and not worried about numbers. If there was one, he wanted to engage and connect with them. For us today to live out the compassion of Christ, will you engage with someone? Will you engage with the one? Not worried about the numbers, but worried about the connection.
Indy Decorative Concrete is hiring immediately. They're looking for workers with experience finishing concrete. Pay is $25 to $30 per hour with weekly overtime. All jobs are located within the city of Indianapolis. Call 317-784-1464 or apply in person at their offices located at 8366 Brookville Road, Indianapolis, Indiana, 46239. They're open Monday to Friday from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. For more information, visit their website, www.indydecorativeconcrete.com. www.indydecorativeconcrete.com.
Does your business have a plan for social media marketing? Are you reaching the right audiences through Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, and the list goes on? Are you learning from the data? Jarbo can help. Our team doesn't just come in and tell you how to be successful. We help you execute and measure your sales and marketing efforts. Give us a call at 317-834-6560 or visit us online at jarbomarketing.com. That's jarbomarketing.com. Make social media work for you.
Welcome back. So picking up here, discussing what happens to these ballots that are rejected, these absentee ballots. Okay, so here's what, then this is talking again. This is an article in the Daily Caller. This is getting some feedback from Michigan's Secretary of State, Jocelyn Benson. She said Sunday, NBC's Meet the Press. It is the number one thing that keeps me up at night. The idea that voters will do everything they can to ensure their ballot is returned on time and the system will fail them. So, as this article points out, millions of people plan to vote by mail amid the ongoing coronavirus. And so they're worried about postal delays. They're worried about rejection rates. So to give us a frame of reference, the AP went back and they found, by looking at Michigan's August primary, they found that there were 2.5 million ballots. Excuse me. 2.5 million ballots were cast in Michigan's August primary, and 10,000 of those were absentee ballots were rejected. Now, why were they rejected? Let's get to the meat of this. Over 60% of those rejected did not arrive in time to be tallied, or were rejected due to a missing or non-matching signature, state data shows. Now, if you don't have a matching signature, can we all agree that that ballot should not count? Now you could say, well, Todd, who else would have cast that ballot? I don't know, and neither do you. And it's not a valid ballot if it doesn't match the signature. So I think we could all agree that those ballots should not be counted. Now, the other question is these ballots being rejected because they did not arrive in time. Okay. Sounds like a potential problem. It could be a problem. I don't know. But it could be that people waited too long to mail these ballots in. It would be akin to going to vote in person and showing up after the polls closed. I mean, there's just, not giving yourself enough time to get there. It's the same thing. You have to take personal responsibility. Every ballot that is not counted is not because the state secretary of state, the secretary of state of a particular state is trying to not count ballots. They're trying to protect the integrity of election. There are rules, right? There are rules. You may note that there's a day called Election Day. Election Day. It's supposed to be a day in which we elect someone or lots of someones to run to hold public office. So you cast these ballots on Election Day. That's historically what happened. Now we've got early voting. Now we've got, again, I'm not saying we shouldn't or whatever have these things. I'm just simply saying the more you do, the more you open up avenues to cast ballots, the more you're opening up potential for abuse. That's all I'm saying. I find this to be completely impossible to refute. It doesn't mean that there's not answers. It doesn't mean that there's not solutions to the problems, but it does mean that you're susceptible when you open for business. There's a reason that you get insurance policies, folks, because you are putting yourself at risk, at some degree of risk. And underwriters, they've all calculated what that risk could potentially cost, and they've come up with a formula or whatever. They've done the calculation, and they found that it costs, the risk balanced with the cost or whatever. This is the formula whereby they come up with a way to protect or a way to assume that financial liability. Same thing is true here. Anytime you open the doors to receive ballots, there's the potential for fraud. It doesn't mean that it's going to be rampant. It can be. Actually, ironically, the more we act like it can't happen, the more susceptible we are to it. If we're naive to potential problems, if you have someone, God forbid, at your company that's embezzling money and you're oblivious to this even being a possibility, it will likely continue. It will likely continue, and it won't be caught until you start to look for it, until you start to put safeguards in place to protect against it. It doesn't mean that everyone that works there should be assumed to be a thief or a cheat or whatever. It just means that there are thieves and cheaters out there, and we should try to put safeguards to do a couple of things. One, to protect against loss. The other, in that particular case, to give the employee some assurances that, if there are questions at some point, the safeguards actually can protect the employee as well if they're following the process. The point is that these ballots, acting like there's no risk here, acting like there's no risk of fraud, which is how the Democrats act, actually creates more opportunities for fraud, right? It's just the natural way that this works. If you're not thinking it's in existence, you're not looking for it, you're not trying to find ways to prevent against it, you're simply walking down the same path that you've been walking that is open to others to exploit. That's it. So they want to start planting these thoughts in your head. The AP, they want you to think that these absentee ballots are not going to be caught or counted. They want you to think that Trump's trying to shut down the post office so that your ballots won't be delivered. Right? This is what they want you to think. And why? That's the question to me. Why do they want us to think this? Something tells me that they expect Biden to truly get maybe walloped on election night, as they've already been saying. But they blow that off. And then they create this other phase 2 of the election. But it's because the people that would normally have voted for Biden, this is what they want you to think, would be casting their ballots by mail instead of by person. And if they cast those votes by mail instead of by person, we got to give those votes a chance to come in. And now if a ballot gets tossed out for something, they're going to say this is, voter suppression or some such thing. When in reality, the ballot may have been received late. The ballot may not have had a matching signature. Why should those ballots be counted? It's like arriving at the polling place in person, but you missed the cutoff time for the vote. Should you just get to vote? If you say, look, man, I had to work late tonight. Okay, well, you could have voted absentee. You could have come early for early voting. You could have changed up your schedule and came earlier in the day. Like, there's a cutoff. There's a point in time where ballots and voting end. And it's almost as though they're creating a scenario in the minds of Americans that says, as long as this needs to go on for Biden to win, that's what we're going to do. And we have to be ready for this. I'm telling you that I think that this is what we need to do right now. We have to adjust our thinking. We have to prepare ourselves. We have to be ready for what they're going to throw our way, because I have this suspicion that we're going to be blindsided by what they're going to do here. It's going to make hanging chads and all those shenanigans back from 2000 look like a walk in the park 20 years ago, for those of you who remember that. We're going to see that times a magnitude of that, of what it was in 2000 with hanging chads and so forth. Whatever it takes to win, folks. This is really what they think. Whatever it takes, as long as it takes them, as long as it takes Trump out of the Oval Office. That's what they think. That's what they're prepared to do. We better be prepared for the same. And just remember, every time a ballot is rejected, it doesn't mean that it's suddenly because Trump's trying to suppress the vote. That's what they're going to want you to think. So then there's a pressure to count votes. Well, found these ballots in a school closet. Probably should count them because we don't want to suppress the vote. Well, what are they doing in the school closet? How do we know how they got there? Why are they in the trunk of some Democrat operative's trunk? Why are they in the trunk of their car? Why? Well, I don't know, but they look like real ballots to me. We better count them. That's how this stuff happens, and it's problematic. And it silences the other side because it doesn't look good to say don't count those ballots. In fact, last night, real quickly, I got to take a break. I coach soccer. I had a guy make a comment to me last night. My two daughters are on the team, and I was yelling as she was playing. I said, "Don't pass the ball." Now, my daughter didn't even have the ball, but what I was telling her was she takes bad angles. She's on the wrong side of the ball. She needs to be behind the ball in this particular instance so that she can continue to push the ball in the direction she wants to go. And this guy said, if a parent heard that, it sounded like I was telling her not to pass the ball. She didn't even have the ball. I was telling her not to pass it. In the same way, that's how this is, in my estimation, if you say, we can't count these ballots, because people say, oh, you don't want to count the ballot of somebody who's legally cast a ballot. Well, no, that's kind of the point here. We've extended this to such a degree that we've opened ourselves up to all sorts of potential fraud and questionable ballots and all this, things that magically appear days and weeks later. And we can't have that. I think we should all agree we can't have that. And that's not Trump's fault either if that happens. States run elections, not Trump. I got to take a break. Long in this segment. You're listening to Conservative Not Bitter Talk. I'm your host, Todd Huff. Back in just a minute.
Like what you hear on Todd's show? Why not get more by signing up for Todd's free Semi-Sweet Morsels of Truth newsletter? To subscribe, visit toddhuffshow.com/subscribe or text HUFF to 31996.
Hi, my name is John Swadner, Sales Director of the Todd Huff Show. As a listener of the program, you know the show is growing. 4 years ago, it began as a podcast in a closet. Today, it's a 2-hour show that airs during morning drive in Indy and in Utah, and we're just scratching the surface. Todd brought me on board to help the show and our advertisers grow. That's why I'm specifically looking for partners who are a good fit to advertise with us. Would that be you? To learn more about what advertising would look like and to determine if it's a good fit for your business, shoot me an email to john@toddhuffshow.com. And be sure to ask me about some of our special packages that will save you up to 40%. Email john@toddhuffshow.com. Shoot me an email today.
Outside of the federal government, no one likes losing money. Any amount of money, not just the $6 billion the State Department lost. And what makes losing money worse is knowing that we could have done something to stop it. Well, if you have an inefficient furnace, a toilet that won't stop running, or a leaky faucet, you can do something about it. You can call the good folks at Economy Heating, Air Conditioning, and Plumbing. Call 317-831-5279 or visit economyheatingandair.com.
Anxiety, depression, relationship problems, past trauma. Problems rarely get better when given time. Care to Change Counseling can help. Our professionals combined evidence-based care models with scripture to get you on the path to a productive life. We are here to help you make the changes you need for a healthier, happier you. Take that brave step today. Call Care to Change at 317-790-9396 or visit caretochange.org.
Hi, this is Caleb with Gluff Plumbing. Does your home need some plumbing updates? Gluff Plumbing is your solution. We specialize in updating old plumbing, everything from water heaters to well pumps, to underground leaks and everything that has to do with water entering and leaving the home, including water and sewer main excavations. We pride ourselves on old-fashioned customer service. Call Gluff Plumbing at 765-721-6789 or visit gluffplumbing.com. That's GLUFF plumbing.com. Call us today.
All right, here we go. $100 down, $200 back at $300.
I went to my first firearms auction a few years ago. It was hosted by TJ Freege, one of my good friends from high school, who is a champion auctioneer and one of the best in the business. In spite of objections from liberal legislators, I walked away with a .22 rifle and a few boxes of ammunition. And I had a great afternoon with my grandpa that I won't soon forget. If you've ever wondered what treasure you could find in an auction, visit FreegeAuctioneers.com and take a look at their upcoming Central Indiana auction schedule. That's Freege, F-R-E-I-J-E, auctioneers.com. Visit FreegeAuctioneers.com.
Hi, I'm TJ Freegee, owner and lead auctioneer at Freegee Auctions and Marketing. I invite you to come see the power of live auctions. It's fast, it's fun, it's transparent, and it's the absolute best way to ensure you get fair market value for your asset today. Get results, go auction.
The printing industry has changed a lot since we opened for business in 1931, but what our clients expect from us really hasn't changed. Quality print, fast turnaround, and competitive prices. We've learned a lot at Moeller Printing over 86 years and 3 generations. Why not put that experience to work for you? Call 317-353-2224 and mention discount code RADIO to receive 10% off your first order. Call Moeller Printing at 317-353-2224.
Welcome back. I am taking odds on the possibility of the likelihood of Donald Trump winning the 2021 Nobel Peace Prize. The 2021 Nobel Peace Prize. He's been nominated, folks. He's been nominated. In fact, Oz asked me about this earlier. I hadn't even seen this yet. Looking here over the break, Donald Trump nominated for the 2021 Nobel Peace Prize following the deal between Israel and the UAE, United Arab Emirates. Trump is now officially nominated. What are the odds? What are the odds that Trump wins this Nobel Peace Prize? Can you imagine? I'm just imagining Trump at the the likelihood the likelihood that this happens is, I can't even calculate it. It's so small. The folks who are involved in making these decisions, they are politically the antithesis of Donald Trump. They're embarrassed by Trump. They hate Trump. They don't like his tweets. They think his address to the United Nations is beneath the dignity of the President of the United States. These are the folks that like to, they like to play the political game. They like to get, praised, and they like they like the circles of liberals that they're running around in, because they often are these liberals anyway. Radical leftists in many cases. But I'm just imagining Trump's acceptance speech. This would be a thing for the ages. I hope this happens. I think this would be a great thing to see Trump up there giving an acceptance speech for winning the 2021 Nobel Peace Prize. I mean, the things he would say would be fantastic. It would be, for someone like me, would just be pure entertainment factor, and a little bit of just joy from seeing him tell some of these folks what's up. And I'm sure we would find out from Trump that this was the best Nobel Peace Prize ever, that he is the most worthy of any Nobel Peace Prize of all Nobel Peace Prize winners in the history of Nobel Peace Prize winners. He probably would make a comment about another president and a Nobel Peace Prize. This is just good stuff to me. But again, the odds that he's going to win this thing, very, very, very tiny, because again, the people that make these decisions do not like to acknowledge anything good that this president has done. They don't like to acknowledge that there is another way, another ideology that doesn't include them, the power brokers of the world, of this country, not having control over every aspect of our lives. They don't like that. They like the power and prestige and authority that they think that they've either taken or been given by people in this country and by others around this globe. But I'm just envisioning what this speech would look like. I hope and pray that this happens. This would be a fantastic thing, to see him take the podium and accept this Nobel Peace Prize. But just wanted to share that with you. Got to take a break. You're listening here to the home of conservative, not bitter talk, where we are, yes, endorsing Donald J. Trump for Nobel Peace Prize winner in 2021. Back in just a minute.
Listen to Todd's show on your way to work, but want to hear more? Don't miss a beat. Visit toddhuffshow.com/listen to catch the program anytime, anywhere.
Are you concerned about your investments? Intrepid Financial has been educating, customizing, and servicing Hoosier investment portfolios since 1998. Our family-owned and operated business builds strong bonds with our clients. When you call, we answer the phone, always ready to walk you through your investment strategy. Intrepid means without fear. We want our clients to be fearless, to feel secure with their investments. Give us a call at 317-818-1776 or visit us online at intrepidfinancial.com.
I love my community, and I wanted to do more to make a difference with my hard-earned dollars. I wanted to make an impact and help shape our future and our county. So I gave money to the Community Foundation of Morgan County. More than just charitable giving, the money I donate is tracked and measured so every dollar is held accountable. It's a social return on your investment. Why don't you join me in donating at cfmconline.org? That's cfmconline.org. Philanthropy with measurable impact.
Ever ask yourself, what does my business insurance actually cover? Well, at AIA and Avon, we think you deserve to know. AIA is focused on earning your trust. We've found that when we educate our clients and truly listen to them, they allow us to work alongside them to put together the insurance plan they need. Whether your business is big or small, give AIA a call, 317-718-1747, or find out what we can do for you at AIA4lowrates.com. Advertisement sponsored by Grange Insurance.
Ever wondered what shooting a real machine gun feels like? At Indy Trading Post, you can have an awesome and safe shooting experience in our family-friendly environment. Firing a weapon on full auto is something you will always remember. Schedule some range time today and let Indy Trading Post give you the real machine gun shooting experience. We guarantee you'll have a blast. Give us a call at 317-782-4867 or schedule your range time at fullautoindy.com.
Hey Indianapolis, by now you've probably heard about Jody Dowdle with Midwest Tax Group. Jody and his team are experts at helping you prepare your personal or small business tax returns. You can count on Midwest Tax Group to get every deduction possible and work for your higher refund. And not just on this year's taxes, they'll check your prior returns for any tax savings you may have missed for free. Are you behind on filing your returns? They can file past due returns and help negotiate with the IRS too. They complete most tax returns within a week and charge an affordable flat fee, no hourly billing. And as their client, you can consult with the team at Midwest Tax Group year-round at no charge. Midwest Tax Group has 4 office locations in Castleton, Greenwood, Plainfield, and Greenfield, with evening and weekend appointments available. Schedule your appointment today at 317-288-5260. That's 317-288-5260. Or visit their website at mwtaxgroup.com. Midwest Tax Group can help you more than any piece of software ever could.
The compassion of Christ. It's living life connecting to the broken and messy world. It's not simply walking down the street and dropping a quarter in someone's bucket. It's been perverted by Satan from biblical compassion to feeling sorry for, and sympathy isn't where God wants us to live. It's connecting to broken people in our daily life. Living the compassion of Christ.
Welcome back. You know, it wasn't that long ago. I was reading, and I may have heard this before, but I'm reminded, or maybe I learned it for the first time. But Alfred Nobel, who's the founder, the one who I guess started or founded the Nobel Prizes, I forget what I was reading this in, but he is actually the inventor of dynamite and other explosives. And from what I remember reading, well, when I say reading, I typically mean listening on Audible. When I was listening to this book, it made it sound like he kind of regretted the way that dynamite explosives had been used as it pertained to, war, or just the way that it had been used and created harm, with people. And so that kind of motivated him to seek peace. He thought that maybe his explosives were used in ways that were not peace-seeking. They were used as, aggressively or what have you. And so he started the Nobel. But I just find that interesting, talking about Trump. Again, this is a full-hearted endorsement, not half-hearted. This is a 100% wholehearted endorsement of President Trump for the 2020 Nobel Peace Prize. Just want to go on record of having said that. But I find that interesting. You think about Alfred Nobel, and just the mindset of people and how experiences can push us one direction or the other. His experiences were that, he felt some degree of guilt, or just he wanted to kind of atone for how explosives had been used, and so sought to do something with acknowledging those who promoted peace. Now, this, of course, has turned into a political show with who gets Nobel Peace Prizes and so forth. But anyway, that's just the way that these things work as well. I want to reference something else. Go back to something I referenced off the top. I intended to get to this earlier. Chris Hayes, MSNBC's Chris Hayes, he sent out a tweet. When was this? Was this yesterday? Got to look at the date of the tweet here. Tweet was sent out at 9:34 yesterday morning, so about 24 hours ago. Chris Hayes, host of whatever his show is on NBC. I can't even think of the name of it. His tweet says, Trump is objectively pro-COVID. Let me say that again. Trump is objectively pro-COVID. It's not even in a matter of opinion anymore to say Trump is pro-COVID. Now, what does it mean to be pro-COVID? Pro-COVID means someone who's in favor of COVID wreaking havoc on the lives of Americans and other folks around this world. COVID means death for certain people. COVID means fear. COVID means uncertainty. COVID means economic, fragile economic conditions. When COVID was, first running rampant in this country, created all sorts of economic turmoil and confusion and fear and that sort of thing. So now he's saying Trump is objectively pro-COVID. Objectively. It's not a matter of opinion. This is black and white. Trump is objectively pro-COVID. He's in favor of COVID. Why? I can only presume, but I guess because it's going to cause people not to want to go to the polls, and then he can force them into using mail-in ballots, which he won't count, which he'll tell the post office, hey, when you pick up ballots from this particular Democrat community, make sure you don't deliver those. Of course, it's ironic that the postal workers are primarily Democrats. That postal workers union that carries our mail has been supporting Joe Biden. It's just the truth. It's what it is. And not only that, but I'm reminded of the postal worker who was caught on camera dumping postcards for a Republican candidate in the dumpster because he didn't want to deliver them. Also saw an article yesterday that said that people in, I forget the city, people who are Trump supporters are getting mail that is they believe the postal worker is writing Black Lives Matter on their mail. That's nice. Oz likes that. Oz thinks we need more of that in our society today. But anyway, this is what we've got. Trump is objectively pro-COVID, says Chris Hayes. It just proves that you work at MSNBC long enough, you lose any ability to think clearly. And I've got to take a break. You're listening here to the home of conservative, not bitter talk. I'm your host, Todd Huff. Back in just a minute.
Is it possible to be a fan of the show if you don't have the gear to prove it? Why not be safe and remove all doubt? Shop for official merchandise at toddhuffshow.com/shop today.
Seems like just yesterday that you couldn't find a quiet place to think in your home. Now all the kids have flown the nest and you find yourself wondering what to do with all of that extra space. This is Bruce of Bruce Richardson Realty. My team and I understand that life changes, and so do your home needs. So whether you're downsizing or upsizing, give us a call at 317-507-3285. Let us help you find the best fit for your residential or your commercial property needs. 317-507-3285.
When life is hard for the women you care about, there is help with issues such as widowhood, anxiety, depression, or abuse. They don't have to go through it alone. Peace Restored is there to walk with women through the journey. Peace Restored helps women through free mentoring, counseling, and education. When life is hard, Peace Restored is there to help women you care about find hope and healing. To learn more, visit peacerestored.net.
All right, here we go. $100 down, $200 down, $300.
I went to my first firearms auction a few years ago. It was hosted by TJ Freegee, one of my good friends from high school, who is a champion auctioneer and one of the best in the business. In spite of objections from liberal legislators, I walked away with a .22 rifle and a few boxes of ammunition. And I had a great afternoon with my grandpa that I won't soon forget. If you've ever wondered what treasure you could find in an auction, visit FreegeeAuctioneers.com and take a look at their upcoming Central Indiana auction schedule. That's Freegee, F-R-E-I-J-E, auctioneers.com. Visit FreegeeAuctioneers.com.
Hi, I'm TJ Freegee, owner and lead auctioneer at Freegee Auctions and Marketing. I invite you to come see the power of live auctions. It's fast, it's fun, it's transparent, and it's the absolute best way to ensure you get fair market value for your asset today. Get results, go auction.
Business leaders, are your employees satisfied with their jobs? Do they enjoy coming to work and feel valued? Workforce Chaplains can help. Locally owned, we work with organizations to provide holistic care to their employees. I'm Marcus Schrader, president of Workforce Chaplains, and we offer your team a 24/7 support system that positively affects your company's culture and productivity. With our personalized pricing and diverse support system, we handle the issues that you wish you had time for. To learn more, visit us at workforcechaplains.com.
Radon is an invisible, odorless gas that kills more people than drunk driving. In fact, radon is the leading cause of lung cancer in non-smokers. Is radon threatening the health of your family? Call Radon Environmental at 317-843-0804. Radon Environmental specializes in radon testing and mitigation. The process is quick, easy, and worth it. Radon Environmental wants to make sure your family's health is not at risk. Call 317-843-0804.
You rely on your vehicle every day. It's not a member of the family, but you spend as much time with it as most family members. You wouldn't take your family to just any doctor, so don't trust your vehicle to just any repair service. At Raymond's Auto and Truck Repair in Plainfield, we have well-trained, caring technicians that have the expertise to get you back on the road. For 25 years, we've been servicing personal, commercial, and fleet vehicles. Give us a call at 317-838-7112 for the car service you deserve.
All right, welcome back. Waning moments of the program here, but I wanted to point out something really quickly. New Trafalgar Group poll in the state of Michigan. Now, we're talking about presidential politics, but which is important. Don't misunderstand me. But what else is important is the Senate, the state of things in the U.S. Senate. And there's a race in the state of Michigan between John James, Republican, and Senator Gary Peters. And John James is up by about 1.5 points in this poll. I just wanted to point that out. Keep your eye on this. That's a big development if this, in fact, holds true on Election Day. So, folks, I got to go. Thanks for listening. SDG. Take care.
Wallace Construction is a family-owned business with 45 years' experience in asphalt, concrete, and seal coating. At Wallace Construction, our wide variety of experience and top-notch customer service have helped us build a strong reputation in Central Indiana. But we don't rest on that reputation. We build it, one job at a time. If you have an upcoming project, call us at 317-422-5356. That's Wallace Construction, 317-422-5356, and ask for Richard or Roger.
Hi, this is Kenton with Christian Community Connect. We're a network of business professionals that are committed to living out our faith in the marketplace by preferring one another in love while serving everyone. With online listings at $27 per month, if you're a Christian in business, committed to treating others as you would want to be treated, we would love to include you. Check our reviews and sign up at ChristianCommunityConnect.com.
As a listener of this program, I have no doubt that you embrace the value of hard work, honesty, and integrity. And when you have the opportunity to work with a company that fully embraces and shares these values, I'm sure you jump at it. Economy Heating, Air Conditioning, and Plumbing is just that type of company in Central Indiana. Jeff and Jod Woods have a team of professional technicians here to help tune up your furnace or install a quality new train system. And they're also here to fix those nasty plumbing problems that seem to happen at the absolute worst time. So the next time you have a plumbing, heating, or cooling need, give the good folks at Economy Heating, Air Conditioning, and Plumbing a call. Call 317-831-5279. That's 317-831-5279. Or visit economyheatingandair.com.